Hello, welcome back.
That was a long weekend.
Right?
When's the last time we were here? I don't even remember.
That was a long weekend, yeah.
We were here Thursday, right?
Yeah.
That was a great show Thursday, by the way.
Thank you. You did well.
I listened to it a couple of times. And,
times?
Well, I like to critique what we're doing and how we're doing it.
You like to critique me?
I like to make changes, but there's no one to talk to. So when I get in touch with in touch with the CEO, I'll make some suggestions.
Welcome back to the Daily Thread.
Welcome back.
So I spent, for me, it was an extremely long weekend because I embarked on a journey to Stamford, Connecticut. I spent Shabbos at the Agudah Convention in the Armon, the Crown Plaza over there, which was beautiful, really, really nice. A lot of Gedalim, a lot of Rabbanim, a lot of Askanim, and it was great. It was beautiful. If you do want to watch the sessions that took place at the Agudah Convention, you can head to agudahconvention.org and watch all the speeches. I especially love the keynote addresses. Words from Rabbi Meir Yedid, Rav Shmuel Kaminetzky were just incredible.
Wow.
Just spending Shabbos with such people is really, the energy is palpable.
Well, I want you to know that about a half century ago, I used to go to the Agudah Convention.
You're not that old. You're not that old.
I was a very little boy, but I went to my father's Agudah Convention.
You're like a few months old then.
I also went to the Orthodox Union conventions. I went to the RCA conventions, Rabbinical Council of America. I went to a lot. My father was a journalist, as a lot of our listeners know, or readers of the Five Town Jewish Times know. And I remember going to the Agudah Convention. Also, there was always this energy. And I listened to your interview with Chaim David Zwiebel on Motzei Shabbos, and I found some things that he said very compelling. Very interesting, and something that distinguishes the Agudah Yisrael of America from every other organization. And, God knows there's plenty of organizations in Jewish life. Let me turn around a little bit so I can look at you.
You're good, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Okay. And that is, I remember one thing stood out in my mind where he said that when he was a young lawyer, when he just joined the Agudah, that they had certain issue they were working on, and the attorneys recommended one thing, but the Rabbanim went with another option, and that he was a little bit stunned. As a lawyer, he was a little bit stunned. Instead of taking the advice of the, distinguished attorneys, accomplished attorneys, they went with, and that's what's unique about Agudah to this day is that, we're from Jews, we're Shomrei Torah mitzvahs, we live a certain Torah lifestyle, and it's imperative, I think, when it comes to major issues of the day, and I don't know what issue specifically he was talking about at the time, but to actually not just say that you live according to Das Torah, but to actually live according to Das Torah.
Absolutely.
Not just say it.
Absolutely. So for those, again, you can watch the Agudah, you can watch the sessions that took place on Thursday and Friday and Motzei Shabbos and Sunday. But what you can't do is you can't watch the sessions that took place on Shabbos.
Oh, that's what they say. What do they say on Shabbos? What do they say different things on Shabbos than they do during the week?
The good stuff is said on Shabbos. I'll tell you that much. The cameras are not rolling.
I once went to a Donald Trump event when he was running for president for 2020. And they took everyone's phone away before he went into the room.
Okay, so
no one could take any pictures or record, except for one guy had two phones. I know he took one phone away, so he was able to take pictures and record.
So they didn't have to take our phones away because none of us had our phones on us on Shabbos. Besides probably Eli Rowe. Eli Rowe was there, and he probably had his phone on him because he's from.
What do they do with that Hatzalah guy?
What do they do with
that Hatzalah guy?
They had Hatzalah there,
so they had their phones there.
No, they're able to have their phones, but I don't think they're recording.
Use them in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously.
Which I met Eli Rowe. Great guy. He's doing great things.
Yeah, so you did a story about Hatzalah. Yeah, right.
A lot coming from him. Really excited about that. So, first of all, I also heard, which is really interesting, they were sold out in the hotel. They even had booked people who wanted to come, but there's no more room in the hotel. There was maybe a Marriott that was a 20-minute walk away.
Really?
And they had, I saw people walking into the hotel in ponchos on Shabbos morning, talking to each other.
Oh, wow.
It was not raining; it was snowing in Connecticut.
Really?
It was staying 20 minutes away.
That's Mesiras Nefesh.
And they were like, I was like, whoa, that's incredible. Anyways, so one interesting session that took place on Shabbos. Debating whether I should speak about it or not, but I should. Like, why not?
Well, why don't you tell us what it is, then we'll decide
whether
to speak about it or not.
Daniel Usher Kleiman, who is a Talmud Muvak of Rav Shmuel Kaminetzky, there was a question and answer with Rav Shmuel. And a lot of the questions were important questions, living lavish lifestyles, what is it, spending $90 on donuts and this and that. And Rav Shmuel's answer to that was, along the lines of everyone needs to limit themselves accordingly. If you
what you can afford.
Yeah, but to not just go overboard. And then the question came up, which I'm very passionate about, which is about, it was really a two-sided question. It was campaigns that, use children, Yisayimim, Almanas, and put them in, let's say, situations or, videos of them where they're saying Kaddish, tearing Kriya right over a grave, and they're trying to, sort of tag, pull at people's emotions and heartstrings.
Right. The objective is to raise money.
The objective is to raise money, and this was explained to Rav Shmuel.
For the families. Yeah.
And he said that people shouldn't donate to those campaigns.
Did he say why?
And he said it's not human behavior. It's cruel. It's exploiting the children. It's exploiting the people, and we shouldn't be seeing that. And it was even doubled down. The Rabbi Kleiman doubled down and asked, well, what if it's raising money? And he said it shouldn't be, a campaign like that shouldn't be donated to. And I think that the follow-up question was about news headlines. It was about videos, graphic images and videos that.
Okay, I'm interested in that.
Yeah, well, I wrote an op-ed in Mishpacha about that a little while ago.
Right. I don't agree with you 100% about that.
That's fine, but
that's a video I wanted you to show today, but finish what you're saying first.
Sure. So the question which was posed was, there's videos and images that are shown. It could be, let's say, from Meron, from that tragedy. You have bodies and stuff that just raw images that wouldn't be allowed to be shown by Fox News or CNN, to comply with FCC rules. And that's allowed on all our Jewish platforms. Rav Shmuel said, you know what he said?
Shouldn't show those?
He said, protest the people who show it. It can't be shown.
Okay.
He said, it's cruel. And he said, our kids can't be seeing that. So the question, the person who asked the question said, is it just the kids? He's like, none of us, even adults, none of us could be seeing that.
So let me comment. Let me comment on that. Take a drop different direction. There was an incident on Friday in a Palestinian town attached to Israel. You have to drive through to get to different parts of the Shomron. I think this town is called Huwara, Huwara, and there was a Palestinian that approached a car with two Israelis were sitting in. What they were doing there was their business. A lot of Israelis like to shop in these towns because stuff is a lot cheaper. Whatever the motivation is, I don't know. Anyway, they were there, and this Palestinian, who apparently was a terrorist, was knocking on the window. And when they wouldn't open the door to the car, he started trying to break the window. And there was an Israeli policeman nearby, and he started wrestling with the guy. The guy took out a knife.
Yeah, he struggled with him.
He struggled with him. He tried to stab the policeman. Or maybe he was IDF. I'm not sure what he was.
He looked like a policeman.
What, police? He tried stabbing at him, as you could see in the video, which you're not going to show.
Yes.
But you can find it online if you want, easily enough, because it's all over. I've watched it about 10 times. Just not because I enjoyed it. I watched it about 10 times because I wanted to see exactly what happened.
No, I think you really enjoyed that.
No, you're wrong. You're way off. That's not right. You should cut that out. But every time I say you should cut something out, you don't cut it out. So I don't think you should cut it out.
I should leave it in.
But the point is this. The point is that he grabbed the policeman's gun away.
He tried, yeah.
But luckily, all these policemen also have a pistol. And he shot and killed the terrorist as he was trying to stab him. The United Nations called it an execution. Okay? They called the struggle where the guy tried to kill two Israelis and tried to stab a policeman in the neck, because the Arabs are trained to go for the neck.
Yeah.
The ones that are prone to terrorism. Not all the Palestinians, not all the Arabs. There's some very good ones,
Someone asked me on Shabbos, first of all, many people came over to me on Shabbos and they really enjoy listening to Daily Thread.
Okay.
They said that your father is hilarious.
That's not my goal is not to be hilarious. I know why they're laughing, but these are serious matters.
Very serious matters.
Listen, but the point is the United Nations called it an execution.
Yeah.
Okay, and they called the battle where the terrorists try to stab the soldier or the cop in the neck. They called it a scuffle. It was a scuffle.
But who takes the United Nations seriously?
The world takes the United Nations seriously. The United States takes
really?
the United Nations takes the United States takes the United Nations seriously. The Europeans take the United Nations seriously, and it shouldn't be taken seriously, but it is.
I don't know. Anywho, anyways, I think that so someone came over to me on Shabbos and said, "Did you get any like bad feedback when you called Arabs animals?"
Yeah.
I said, "Who is I going to get that feedback from? We don't have a large Palestinian listenership." But
you also have
was I off base by saying that?
I don't know. You know what? I have a lot of for many years I have a lot of people that work in very what they would call radical right-wing types of organizations, and my advice to them always is, don't change your position, but use different terminology, because when you use more middle of the road terminology, it's easier to get your message across. When you use extremist terms, people turn you off, and your message gets diluted.
It's extreme to call Arabs animals?
Yeah, it is probably extreme to call any human being an animal, because an animal is an animal. And
I think it's pretty extreme for any human being to commit the crimes that they commit.
A human being can act like an animal.
Well, that's sort of what I was saying.
Okay, but you didn't say that. You said an animal. You didn't say human being acting like an animal. It's a big difference in terms of.
I really don't think so.
In terms of the credibility of your message, you're talking to a cross section of people. You know, not everybody agrees 100% with your position or with my position. Donald Trump called the people that rioted during the summer of 2020 animals. You know, and he's not apologetic about that. And he was the president of the United States.
Yeah. So anyway. So the convention was full of a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement. There was a lot of holy rabbis there and Askanim. I got an opportunity to spend a lot of time with.
So one of them was a former law school dean at Hofstra University, Rabbi Aaron Twersky. Right?
Yeah.
Very articulate. Twersky family is an American Hasidic family, and he had. You said this was Thursday afternoon before the big crowd came in, but
I said
it was someone said here in the room, but it was a video that was widely circulated where he was very critical of the Agudah. I think he meant it in a constructive way. I think what he was saying was. He was saying that there's no Hasidic representation on the Moetzes Gedolei Torah anymore.
Well, I think that the Novi Minsker was a Hasidic rabbi, no?
Yeah, of course. And they're you know what? Let's look at it. Let's not be critical for the sake of being critical. It's not for us to be critical. We don't know the details of what's involved in the mechanics of putting together a Moetzes. But first of all, like I said a moment ago, it distinguishes the Agudah from every other organization in the world, that they defer to genuine Das Torah and the decision-making process that Rabbi Zwiebel pointed out when he was talking to you on Saturday night. But I think the Agudah and the Jewish community, the Frum community, is much different today than it was when I used to go to conventions with my father 40 and 50 years ago, 45, 50 years ago, because all these Hasidic sects, these different, without naming them, because I don't really know, I'm not that familiar with them, they've built an infrastructure that allows them to exist independently and have their own. They have their infrastructure. They have their askanim. They have their wealthy individuals. They have politically active individuals, and they're able to conduct themselves and be a force to deal with independently. So I know Rabbi Twersky was trying to say that in this day and age of anti-Semitism, that we need to
be more inclusive.
We need to be more. We need real achtos. A term.
I don't know if it's a lack of achdus. From my
limited
knowledge, I don't think it is.
One thing I got out from what he said is that I think, if the Hasidic sects are able to exist independently and be a force to be reckoned with, look. When Kathy Huckle was running for governor, where'd she go? She went to the Satmar Rebbe in Monroe. She went to the Square Rebbe in New Square. They go independently, and I'm sure they met with Rabbanim from the Agudah as well.
Of course,
everybody brings something exclusive and independent to the table. There should be at some level. I'm sure there is. There should be at some level be an oversight group that, in an emergency, can bring everybody together, so that we could, as a Jewish community, as a Frum community, put our foot forward that shows that we're united.
Is
that bad?
No, I agree. I agree. I think there should be as well. I don't think it's I don't think. What do you say?
I said I cleaned that up pretty good. That you're going to take out.
Went off script right there, but
I don't have a script.
Yeah, I think that it was really out of nowhere. what was said, and I think the Agudah is gonna sort of draft a response to it in their own time and what they feel of the matter. Rabbi Zubel had a response at the time. I think it just didn't feel like the convention right now was a time to get into this debate.
I think his comments are very spontaneous. I don't think anybody knew.
Yeah, and again, like you mentioned, I think that it's very clear. Like look at a guy like Yasika Stetner, who's an Askin in the Chassidish world.
Yeah.
He exists. And he's doing a lot in that world. He's not by the Agudah Convention. It's not because they don't want him. It's because...
Listen, Nachi, look, I mean, we're going off on a tangent, but that's our specialty. But look at Chabad, for example. They have no shaykhs to Moetzes. They're an independent force. There's no greater force in the frum world.
Many Chabadniks probably don't even know the Moetzes exists.
I don't know about that. I'm sure the leadership is well aware of it. I'm sure
in Mauritius, I don't know if they know if the
I'm sure they're aware. I'm sure there's communication. But that's a perfect example.
But I do agree. I do agree with you that it'd be pretty cool to have this one oversight committee. Like there's if there's let's say chas v'shalom, a nuclear attack, every single television in the world gets a emergency
what's it called? Emergency something system.
Yeah, emergency alert system.
Emergency broadcast system.
So we need to have the ability. We need to have the ability for every single corner and sect of Jewish communities to be able to get together, from the most Hasidic to the most modern Orthodox. I would love to see a situation where you have the Satmar Rebbe, Rav Hershel Schachter, and members of the Agudah, members of the OU, all in the same room.
Maybe you could make it. Maybe you're the guy that has to make it happen. They say we're shemakom she'ein ish. You have to step up maybe and start to take those steps in that direction to put it together. But
I want to say I want to also close the parentheses on one thing I brought up, which is Rav Shmuel's Psak and that whole thing. And I would just like to put out there, I don't want to just bring up issues. I want to say my solution. I think there should be a governing body that all from media need to abide by, such as the FCC.
It's very difficult.
It's not very difficult. You can't curse on national television. There are certain things you can't show, and there should be basic guidelines that aren't allowed. And
let me tell you something.
You can't allow it.
Nachi, in the early years, the Five Towns Jewish Times is 23 years old, but in the early years, I mean, maybe I was a little naive. I tackled some issues that ruffled some feathers.
Yeah.
And one of the rabbis in the neighborhood in the Five Towns told me that I should put together a rabbinical board. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, and I spoke it up with some people, if I had a rabbinical board and I had to have a meeting before each issue came out, I don't know if there would be even a first issue with a paper.
I'm not asking for there to be a rabbinical board about every single issue. I'm saying basic guidelines. We don't show kids saying Kaddish over an open grave. We don't show bodies in Talesim with kids tearing Kriya over it. Like, very basic boundaries that we should not cross. Traumatizing images. You want to wonder why that you can't get an appointment, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, by a psychologist or a therapist for a few months now. Maybe it's because of what our kids are seeing, or maybe it's because of what our adults are seeing, the access they have to see disgusting things.
There's a big difference between putting those things online and printing them in magazines.
I don't think magazines print them. They would never.
I know I don't. Because
yeah, why not?
I look at it because I know the newspaper is going to stick around for 3 or 4 days. And it's going to be seen and be seen again and be seen again and again and again. And if it's online, it could be here and gone in seconds, if need be.
But that's
a big difference.
That's also where you're wrong, because online, it can be seen and seen and seen for years and years and years.
Yeah, if somebody takes a screenshot and holds on to it.
And it gets passed around. And it's really not okay. It's not okay for those children in 15 years when they're adults. They don't need that.
So the question is, okay, you have, there's first of all, 2 things. Number one, I saw some kind of verification of these projects that's being passed around.
Oh, you want to talk about verification?
No, I've seen it. I've got letters verifying certain campaigns.
Yeah.
I don't know who's putting that out exactly.
Okay.
So I've seen that, and I mean there's a campaign going on now for the Shupak family who lost their kid 10 days ago to a terrorist bomb in Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. No one's doing that for fun. They're doing it because obviously money is needed. So
100%.
What are they supposed to do? How are they?
What's wrong with raising?
To do differently?
What do you mean? Raise money all you want.
So what are you're only objecting to difficult things to see?
I'm objecting to the media that we use, the material that we use. Would you suggest that they use an actual footage of the bomb to raise money? Would you suggest they maybe take pictures of the Tahara and put that out on email to raise money?
Who
Absolutely not.
Who actually shows that? I mean, who actually shows that? There
Yeah,
are
you gotta wait.
there are websites that show that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not that familiar with it. I know I get photos from Flash 90, which is an Israeli photographic.
Well, these type of pictures are not being done like photo. These are cell phone pictures.
Well, no, this photo company actually they send newspapers. They send photos, and then you have to use your discretion on what you're going to print.
Last night in Madison Square Garden was Jewish Heritage Night, which I don't know if it was planned in advance, but they hosted the Five Towns Jewish sports leagues there
who
playing
played?
basketball.
Who played last night?
Kids from the Five Towns.
Oh, there wasn't a professional game.
There was the Knicks versus the Cavs.
That was yesterday. Who won last night?
The Knicks.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm still up to the Saturday game where they played the Celtics.
What happened then?
The Knicks won.
Knicks beat the Celtics on Shabbos?
92-81, yes.
No, they beat the Cavs 92-81 last night.
Oh, it was last night? Okay, you better cut that out too.
No, I'm not cutting that out. That's funny.
All right.
When did you think they beat the Celtics?
I thought on Saturday. I thought on Shabbos.
I don't think they played the Celtics in the last 2 weeks.
There was a 12:30 game.
No, they played the Mavericks. They lost 121-100.
That was Friday night.
No, that was Shabbos.
92-81 yesterday versus the Cavs.
Oh yeah, and Saturday was there a game Saturday at 12:30?
Yeah, against the Mavericks.
Against the Mavericks.
Oh, yeah, they got killed. Okay,
Intel is wrong.
all right.
Anyways,
My cell phone's wrong.
So here's a clip from the between the intermission, I guess, these kids playing.
It's Knicks Jewish Heritage Night at the Garden. On hand to celebrate at the half, the Junior Knicks youth basketball scrimmage starting the Five Towns Jewish Sports League team. And earlier tonight, the Knicks were also proud.
And that's obviously, Chaim Hamnick, the owner of JSL.
JSL.
I'll actually discuss this.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
You want to read it?
I was there, and this is by the Agudah Convention on Thursday's Asking for a Friend panel, which is led by Sroli Besser, Rav Ariel Lampiansky, and Rabbi Uri Deitch were the panelists, and obviously the question was brought about shidduchim.
Every road leads to shidduchim.
Yeah, and Rav Lampiansky's response, which I thought was pretty accurate and interesting, was it has to do first and foremost with gathering data. It requires professional people who really know statistics is a mitzgoya gadol. You can prove anything you can prove anything you want if you don't know what you're doing. To be able to get a real insight, you need someone who understands our tzibur and understands mathematics. I think he was really calling for like what are the actual statistics? How many people are actually older single? How many people are actually not getting read shidduchim? Have actual hardcore statistics. And I agree with that. There needs to be somebody who gathers that. No?
Well, I have a different opinion about that, but
you don't think statistics are important?
I first of all, I don't like if I don't know, we're running out of time, but I don't think you want to get in. I mean, discussing shidduchim could be a program. It could be a couple of programs unto itself. I don't see why we have to merge the idea of shidduchim into people should have health, and they should have parnasa, and they should have nachas from their children, and they should have a lot of success, and I should have shidduchim. Shidduchim is we're in the parshas the last few weeks of shidduchim, and it wasn't so difficult like we've made it in this generation. When Yaakov Avinu married Leah and married Rachel, when Yitzchak married Rivka, I mean, it had a lot of drama to it, but it seemed to be sailing along rather smoothly. You don't have to turn shidduchim into a scientific experiment. You don't have to turn it into a mathematical problem. You got to loosen some of the restrictions, is what I'm saying, and make it more natural. I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I'm saying, but you saw that when Eliezer went to bring back Rivka, it says in the Torah that Rivka saw Yitzchak. When Yaakov met Rachel, it said that Rachel saw Yaakov saw Rachel. Here, today, in 2022, almost 2023, you're not allowed to see each other. Of course there's going to be a shidduch crisis. That's my only comment on that so far.
If you want to respond to that, you could go ahead and message us on WhatsApp and what? You could message us on WhatsApp, and you can send us the email at thedailythread@meaningfulminute.org. Another thing that Rabbi Labiansky said was that he believes He believes that there needs to be more people who are fully, like full time, taking on their
Shulchanim again?
Yeah,
Shulchanim?
meaning not just like you have a shidduch meeting once a week. Like be like full time, actually giving your life to it, and you're not satisfied by that.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not, you see, if I say let it be more of a natural type of thing, right away you think I'm advocating people going to parties and to discotheques and...
Discotheques? I don't know what that is.
And you know what that is?
No.
Discos and total chaos.
I don't think people do discos anymore.
What?
I don't think people do discos anymore.
You have to do some research on it. I'm sure you'll hear some people who have some greater expertise than you and or me about it. But I'm not advocating for that. There's some distance between the way things are now, and I think we mentioned in this program how people are suffering. People are suffering. People should not be suffering because they can't find a shidduch.
She's saying singles events.
I don't think I mean single
Speed
events,
dating.
right. I'm not saying, I don't know what kind
Which
of
happens in the
events.
frum world.
I'm saying that finding a marriage partner, someone to live your life with, should not be analogous or parallel to suffering. Okay, unless you're in a bad marriage and you have a problem, there's a mechanism how to get out of it, which we know, but which halacha dictates. But for young people, 20, 22, 24, 26, why does it have to be in the context of suffering? That's all I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying. Okay.
That's all I'm saying right now.
That's all I'm saying right now. Well, we're going to discuss a little bit more in tomorrow's episode, maybe some Twitter file talk, Hunter Biden, Kyle Rittenhouse, a lot going on that front. We did not mention anything about Kanye West today and Donald Trump and all that purposely because you know what?
That's been beat up.
The guy's a loser and he's done. He's old
beaten
news.
to a pulp.
TBH, my opinion is Donald Trump is also finito. I know you said that DeSantis is not going to run. I think DeSantis is going to run because Donald Trump is done. He is done. He's not going to come back from what he just did.
I think
he just put both his feet in his mouth.
The dark horse in 2024, I believe, is Mike Pompeo. He is presidential. And you see, you know how you can tell.
Dark horse in 2024 is Pesach Osina, I think.
You can, I don't know who that is, but you know
Pesach Osina?
I do. He's not running for president. But
Never
listen,
know. Dark horse.
Mike Pompeo is acting presidential already. Like Manas Friedman says, don't say that you're going to do this and that when Mashiach comes. Act Mashiach today. Mike Pompeo is presidential, and I think it's very early on in the process. It's crazy to be talking about who's going to run in 2024 when 2022 isn't even over yet. The new congressmen haven't even been sworn in yet and taken.
But that's
their
what we
seats.
do. That's what we do here at the Daily Thread. And if you want to see more content from the Daily Thread, go ahead and follow us on WhatsApp. Our number, the link is in the description to sign up. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. We post the news with more of a story behind the headlines and with dignity. We're not going to show any of those videos or pictures that are going to keep you up at night with nightmares. If you want to see that, you can follow my father's WhatsApp status.
No, it's not true. I don't. I had the thing where a couple of hundred people watched that attack of a terrorist on a soldier and how he defended himself.
I hear you. Okay, that's our episode for today. Make sure to send us an email at thedailythread@meaningfulminute.org. If any feedback, topics, responses, please go ahead and leave us a review, a rating, Spotify, Apple. It helps more people see this podcast. We really appreciate it, and we do read those reviews. So looking forward to reading yours, and we will see you again tomorrow.